Okay. Good afternoon on this sunny fall day. I think it's the first day of fall, or was it yesterday? I think it's
Oh, wow.
today. I think it's the first day of fall. I love the fall season. In the fall season, the trees become more beautiful, a different kind of beautiful as they change colors. And I really like the fall season. Feels really good and feels really important because the feast days fall. There are some fall feasts, two major ones, and that is, well, three actually. The Day of Atonement, which tells you the Lord is coming. He coming soon. And the second one is Feast of Tabernacles and the eighth day. And I just really feel those this time of year because I think our culture is really, really important. And I feel that in the fall. I love the fall. Absolutely love the fall. I'm Michelle Renee. This is Aquila Graves,
Yes. Hi,
Aquila
everyone.
Davis Graves. We are EDU coach, and we're starting a new venture. And it's a brainchild of Aquila, so I'm going to let her talk about it. I am support.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Aquila, educator, administrator, all the labels you can probably think of, mother. So as mother, we are all educators, administrators, name it. And but I chose as a profession to become a teacher as well as a musician. I'm very much impassioned by the education of our children, and where it's headed, what's in store, how do we circumvent, how do we empower or support. These are questions I think are very, very important for this new found norm of learning and teaching.
And so in thinking about all that, what you come up with?
One of our most basic themes that we want to cover right now for today, because we talked about online learning last week. So this week we want to really cover empowering students to cultivate their passions.
Okay.
We look at education as a mechanism to put information into our children and to put into them what we think they ought to know, but very seldom do we access what they already know.
And so that made you think of what? OMS. And what is OMS?
Well, OMS is online mentoring services.
Right.
And its motto basically is to say that we want to go back to the basics. Yeah. Online learning may not be a new phenomena for quite a few peoples, quite a few neighborhoods, schools, whatever. But in our neighborhoods, it is relatively a new phenomena that none of us are particularly ready to take on, maintain, and or whatever adjective you want to put to that. So what we know as EDU, urban coaches, and with over 100 years between the four of us, that learning in its present state or instruction in its present state has not been effective for this 21st century learner.
And you know what? In the age of remote learning, it is frightful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Frightful. However, we have an answer for that, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. These are the questions. This is the first question that came in my email. Someone asked, how can we improve the effectiveness, of schools during this remote learning era and beyond? So you want to first let's first talk about how the schools are not effective. What's happening I just finished teaching a class of high school students that got an actual high school diploma walked across somebody's stage, and now they're in this freshman college class of writing, and woo wee.
Okay.
They have some work to do, and we only have 6. I mean, we're responsible for teaching them the first year of writing what they should have learned in the 12 years or 13 years, kindergarten through 12th grade, that they should have learned prior to this in 16 weeks. So I know last time we talked about how we were afraid that after this remote learning era has passed and we go back to regular face-to-face education in the classroom, that a lot of our students are going to be behind. And that's very, very scary. So how can we improve this? How can we improve it while we're in this remote learning era? And how can that same thing help to improve us beyond that? You can start.
But number one, you know, let us be mindful that we're charting uncharted territory. We're traveling uncharted waters. You know what I mean? So this is such a new phenomena. And like, again, maybe not in some of the more affluent areas, but definitely in the inner cities, in our areas, it is. And so it's such a new phenomena that is taking everybody by storm. I don't think that anybody particularly is prepared to really take this on and do righteously about all involved, especially our children. Especially our children. You know, so one thing I would say with this whole whether or not it's going to be effective, again, is to really take on the challenge that we cannot teach our children through traditional means anymore. You know, and so this online learning clearly is an example of that. But even with the online, the approach cannot be from an in-classroom approach, because you're you know what I mean, you're not in the classroom per se. So looking at, I think we need to flip the switch and look at this process not from the teacher's eyes, but from the student eyes. No. And
so,
if at all possible, teach out of that vernacular.
And so I think the first thing that we should think about is using the idea that everybody on the planet has something that the Most High put in them. That is a talent, is a gift. It's a passion. So, and I know that in regular education, what we've done in the past is help our children find their passion. And once I believe, and I believe it because I've seen it happen, once we help them find what it is that they're passionate about, that we build or base our remote learning for that student right now and after this COVID-19 era is over, that we base their education on their passion or their gift.
And you know, Michelle, it really goes back to what we knew education to be when we came through. You know, children, you were allowed to choose whether to track your postgraduate experience, whether or not you wanted to go career orientated or whether you wanted to go college orientated. When that was taken off the table, when powers that be decided we might as well make some money off of this, and they separated and forced everybody to walk the academic track. So our passion was taken away, you know what I mean? And so with that, you not only took away an option, that this child has the right to decide his destiny and how it should, you know, move forward. But you not only took that away, but you created a deficit in the whole academic structure. You know, because everybody not to do well on college, but everybody was forced into that college track.
And so then I also think, this is my belief, that if you help a young person find their passion early enough,
yes,
when they get to the age of college,
yes,
if they decide to go to college,
yes,
they can get into that subject area immediately,
immediately.
help immediately. So
Yeah,
they have options of either not going to college at all and pursuing that particular goal, or going to college to pursue it, making themselves even uh, more
marketable.
astute and more marketable, so that they will be able to start a job. Like,
Yes,
for instance, when we were in high school, I graduated high school in '76, and when we were in high school, we in our freshman year, there were 4 semesters in a year. Every semester, we studied a career path. So that after the first year, we had 4 that we were interested in of the whole list. Then our second year, we narrowed those 4 down to 2. So
like
we
the senior
studied
year.
2 for 2 semesters each. And then
Mhm.
in our senior and our junior and senior year, we narrowed the 2 down to 1.
One. And
And
then
there were
you,
some people that graduated high school on a career path.
yes,
Some of us took that career path and went into college with that, guiding our studies in college, whereas some of us went directly into the work field, got a certificate in something, and both of them are
yes,
valid.
they're both
Both
valid.
of them allowed students to be qualified to do something, and both of them gave students a path where the education was easy. And it
And
was
then,
easy because they liked it. They
right,
were interested in it. That's the key.
that's the key. You know, that with anybody, if it's not, if I don't have a passion for it, I can't do well in it. And
And do
so,
well
you know,
in it.
and we're seeing that our children, you know, it's, and I think just human nature, period. So I won't just put that on
Mm-hmm.
our children
Mm-hmm.
thing, but
Yes.
we all need to be fed and inspired. And
Yes.
those who are inspired are the ones who reach for the stars.
Yes.
You know, so, and so education as we know it today does just the opposite, shuts them down,
Yes.
shuts them down.
Yes. And this era of testing, I mean, it has destroyed a couple of generations.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just absolutely
oh yeah.
ridiculous. So what are some things that we as educators and parents can do to help to place our students on a path? How can we help them find their passion?
Okay, let me say this too. That's why OMS on our tutoring and mentoring services is most effective in our approach to mentoring or tutoring out
Mm-hmm.
that child's passion. So say you said you have a child that wants to be a paleontologist. I have a grandson that's just 6 years old, and he uses words that long because
Wow.
he says he's going to be a
That's awesome.
paleontologist.
That is
So,
awesome.
and everything, he's got to have dinosaur books. He's got to have a dinosaur robots, all this stuff.
Wow.
So teach him out of that vernacular. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Teach him math, teach him reading, teach him how to spell out
Yes.
that, and that, yeah, it's a little more different, a little more complicated or differentiated. But as a special ed master teacher, um, we understand that you have to differentiate and structure. Everything is different per child. But when you can lock in their passions, we can turn this whole educational process around. It's a little more work on our part as educators, as it should be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And yeah, we got our own lives and all of that, but when you commit to something like this, it's called occupational hazards.
Yes.
So if you're committed, really truly committed to the continuation of a generation of people,
Mm-hmm.
then education is going to have to turn to that kind
It's
of
going to have to make a transformation.
yes,
It's going to have to make a transformation.
right, the
Do me a favor,
transformation.
Aquila. Look at the things that I typed on the slide and tell me if I am capturing what we discussed. What
Okay.
did I miss?
Okay, we said that to help students find their passions.
Yeah.
And okay, Every person has a
And
passion.
I think that comes through observation.
Yeah.
Every parent who is involved in their child's life and in their education, if they're involved in their play, they know, they have some idea of what that child is interested in.
And then if not, and then if you do, you at home has to nurture that. You remember Bill Cosby show?
Yeah.
You know, they nurtured every one month they playing the clarinet. The next month he wanted to be drum, but they were
Yeah.
there to nurture their children's passion where they were.
Yeah.
You know, as best as their situation would allow for that. And like you say, as any good teacher, a good teacher knows her students. She makes her business to learn and know her students.
And then I think parents and teachers should provide opportunities for children to explore.
And
They
what
need to
more,
explore.
what greater tool than the internet and the
Okay.
online learning?
We have a
And
valuable tool. Oh, and you know
yeah,
what? In the beginning, I was kind of thinking, oh my God, our children, especially the low socioeconomic or urban children, are going to be so far behind. They're
yeah,
getting behind.
yeah,
But looking at it now and looking at it differently, this actually may be a blessing.
yeah, yeah. And I
This
think
could be a
OMS,
blessing.
you know, we're offering OMS, online mentoring services. We're offering a platform or an alternative to what's out here, and our whole approach is to do just that, to dig into this passion and teach outside of that. You know, if you have a child that don't understand place value, and she maybe wants to be a fashion designer, whatever,
Mhm.
teach her place value inside of cutting out and, you know, where things go in place. You know, you wouldn't put the
Yeah.
shoulder with the knee pattern. You know what I mean? Teach her
Yes.
place,
Yeah.
how to see place value in different vernaculars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll get it. She'll get it a lot quicker than she will, perhaps, in the traditional manner.
Yeah. I think so. Okay. Awesome.
We ain't trying to give away all our secrets now.
Right. Next question. What happens when students are empowered to cultivate their passion? What actually happens?
You know what happens when they're actually able? I have a granddaughter that to me is a master artist. A master artist. I put her up against
Mm-hmm.
name her any day of the
Mm-hmm.
week. You know what I mean? And
I've seen her work, and I agree with you. She is
she's
phenomenal.
self-taught. So she found her
Wow.
passion and she dug in. So by the time she got even into high school, where it was more formal training in art,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she was already ahead of her class because she was
Yeah.
taught. And she used technology to move her through the process. But her inspiration was that she loved her. She was an artist, and she found her passion, and she
Okay.
grew out of that.
Okay. Okay. You know, when I think about it, what it does, I think about the idea of brain-based education. When young people, and I saw it in my children, when they can explore their passions and when they identify their passion, especially, it's like their brain ignites.
Yes.
Something happens in the brain and it literally ignites. And there is a chemical, dopamine and oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is released,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the reward. It makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Instead of hating to read about whatever they're reading about, if they can read about what it is that they love, then they'll read a lot more and they'll begin to understand a lot more. It'll make them happy and it'll make them feel fulfilled. This work fulfills me. It makes me feel good. That oxytocin and dopamine is released in my brain and I feel good and I go to the bed and I have a good night's sleep because I'm following my passion, and that will happen for everybody.
Yeah.
Do we need to add anything on this slide?
Mm.
we need to add something.
Yeah, that's what happens. Let's say to this one, empower to cultivate their own passions, is that they learn to develop their own survival skills. You know, when you have
I like that.
when you got passion, you know, there's a survival skills has to come with everything that you do, however small, however large. You know what I mean? You have to work out what will best serve you to get to your, you know, desired thing.
Yeah.
So definitely, we want to say
They,
survival skills are
right. So when that happens, they feel fulfilled.
Yeah, not only just fulfilled, but they feel confident. You know, when a child can see his worth, he's gonna just explode, implode, explode, you know, all over the place. You know, when he can see his worth, you know, and like I said with my grandson, I mean, he takes such pride in naming off all these dinosaurs. He knows everyone, Rictosaurus, Roca. He knows them all, and he knows what each one. He's 6 years old.
That's so magnificent.
Can you imagine?
I love that.
You know, teach him out of that.
Yeah,
that's all
use that. Is what he's interested in.
Yeah, they got tunnel vision. When you find their passion, they hear. And we want them here to a certain degree so they can be more focused, more engaged. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So then our next question that came to
focused and engaged.
Okay. Hold on. I'm going to go back. So that they are, hold on. Hope they give, there we go. They become more focused, engaged. And I would say engaged in their own learning. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely taking ownership to it.
Yep. And that's important.
Yeah.
That's really important. Okay, our last question. What can educators do to shift in order to make this shift to a more student-centered learning modality? I'd like to bring up project-based learning and experiential learning here.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring this up. Project-based, as soon as I get, there we go. Project-based learning.
And let me say why I say project-based learning, because you know the learning right now in the state that is in, the children do not get the opportunity to really embrace the concept or to really internalize the concept. Because by the time you introduce it, you're ready to move on to another one. You know, and so learning is not an event; it's a process. You know, and so depending on the subject matter, our children needs time to internalize, marinate, relate, associate, you know, all these information that they'll need.
Yeah.
So it's not connected though.
Yeah.
And so project-based connects the dots, you know.
And the way that it connects the dots is that it has the teacher, as a teacher is building and designing a project for this child, say in paleontology, there is an outcome. So you're thinking about it backwards. What is it that in the end of this project, you want that student to be able to do? If you think about what that outcome is and think about it backwards, what do they need to do or to learn in order to meet this outcome, to develop this particular tangible thing? So I'm going to introduce the idea of designing. So I'm going to suggest that teachers learn to design projects from backward design.
Backward.
Yeah, backward, sorry.
Yeah.
And you know, and because that's the actual learning theory, I'm going to say from looking at it backwards. Same thing, but yeah, I own this.
Yeah, or flipping the switch, whatever it works.
I love that, backwards. or flipping the switch, turning the switch on.
Right, or even, and this really looks like visualizations. You want to visualize where you want to be at the end of this project.
Visualize
with
where
that
the
in mind,
student
then
needs
that
to
gives the
be.
child his ownership to something, because he gets to determine where he wants to be. You know,
which also gets me to this. The teacher doesn't have to necessarily design all these projects. She can have the student assist her or him in designing the project. Have the student decide what the outcome is going to be in this project. So then we're going to shift it to having the students.
Right. And then within that project, make it interdisciplinary. Make it an interdisciplinary project. That way this kid is seeing the problem in different modalities.
And
problem, repetition, application, all, you know, so he can see the same, different sides of the same coin, you know, and it's going to develop his critical thinking skills, his ability to make inferences, to draw conclusions, you know what I mean, and to make connections.
Yeah. Okay, I lost my thought. Design projects from backwards design, from, oh God, I forgot my question. I'm gonna take that.
We're saying to use the backwards design to create the outcomes.
Multidisciplinary.
Dictate the outcomes.
Multidisciplinary design projects so that they are multidisciplinary. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that would bring them into Bloom's taxonomy, where they are not only accessing knowledge and gaining knowledge and comprehension and application, but they're also synthesizing. And they're evaluating, they're analyzing. So they get all levels of Bloom. Actually, when I teach, when I design an assignment, I design it so that they are synthesizing first.
Yes.
And then once they learn to synthesize that particular idea or concept, the rest of it just falls into play.
Right, and it keeps learning.
The lower levels of Bloom, they come in naturally.
Yeah. And it keeps learning in the real time.
Yes.
And our children needs to they can always be in the real time. They don't like to go back. They don't like to be in the past and all that. They like to always be in the moment. And so this mindset or this strategy keeps them in the moment. It keeps learning relative. It keeps learning communicative, you know, and collaborative.
Yes. So once students analyze, evaluate, and I know I'm spelling stuff wrong, and synthesize, I'll go back and fix it. Then
and definitely they got to be able to transfer, you know what I mean, how we want to call it, to be able to apply it in other areas.
Yes.
Which they will if they can relate to it. You know what I mean? If it's relative, they're gonna use it in wherever they deem necessary, because they see where it fits. They see it's not outside of the whole learning process of who they are. This is who I am here.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we've actually answered all of our questions. Do you have anything else to add or to say?
Yeah, I want to always remember to thank my team of Urban EDU coaches, because and to say that truly we are committed to the education of our children. We have been since the beginning of our beginnings. And so with that, I give kudos to Urban EDU Coach, and for all of those who are out there, educators, whether you are traditional, certified, qualified, whatever the word. But I'd like to end with OMS is on its way. It is not the cure-all, but certainly with the experiential knowledge and textual knowledge that between the four of us that we bring to the table, we offer one of many solutions to this newfound learning.
All right. And actually, it's newfound, but it's really old. We're simply helping.
Oh,
We're
yes.
simply helping students find their passion and
Right.
developing their education around that.
Yeah. And
It's been done in the past.
yeah.
We stopped. We just
And
need
let
to pick it back up and
and
do it better.
let me say this and close out. We have to, our children, the love of learning has been snuffed out of our children.
Yes.
So they have no love for it. It's different for us because we loved learning.
Yes.
And you know, the worst of us, we love learning. So how do we give them back that? The love for learning, it can come only through their passions.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. So with that, we are done. Until next time with our 3 questions. Here's Urban EDU Coach. Over and out.
In and out. See ya. Up, one.